Just doing a quick rad change on Isuzu Trooper to follow up our little adventure. This rad's held out, but it is quite a it's pretty old. It's had a lot of miles on it. I have done a solder patch job on this corner here, just a temporary patch job to hold her together. But it's got a small pinhole leak down here in the fins. So this one here is in remarkable shape, but there is one little issue, and that's what today's tutorial is kind of about. This one here, although it is in such clean shape that it's got the warranty sticker on the side still, it was purchased in 05, and it looks like it got installed for a few months before the truck was parked. So it's almost brand new. But the big problem here is that whoever put water and coolant in it has put something in there that's caused some pretty big mineral deposits. So we're just gonna have a look in the top here, and you can see what I'm saying here. And I've got a little solution for that. It's an old trick, and that's what I'm gonna share with you today. So if you look in the top here, I'm trying to get the light and the camera balanced. You can see there's some pretty heavy deposits going on in the top there, and they're even blocking off ports. So I'm going to assume that it's that bad all throughout the rad, and that somebody put really mineral heavy water in there. And so in order to solve that, we're going to break out the chemicals. And today, this is a good one shared with me by an old school mechanic. We're going to grab the can of Drano. Now I want you to find this stuff here with the kitchen crystals in it, the clog remover. And you want actual powder crystals, you don't want a liquid, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 heaping tablespoons of this stuff, and I'm going to pop it right in the top here. And then I'm going to come outside and I'm going to grab the boiling hot water in the kettle, and I'm going to pour that in the top of the rad on top of all those kitchen crystals. So of course, in order to do that, I need to block off my ports. Just like you were doing a pressure test, if you happen to have caps, or you can find a piece of hose. You could do it with just some rubber caps and some hose clamps. However you choose to block off your ports. And then what you want to do is put your rad cap on, and you want to try and swish that solution inside the rad. So a kettle, maybe even 2, and a couple of heaping tablespoons of that kitchen crystal. Go find yourself that Drano powder, and you're going to clean that rad out like nothing. It's going to take about 20 minutes just to slosh it around in there and let it sit. And then once the water starts to cool down, you can dump it out. And it would just be like, the equivalent of putting some of this stuff down your kitchen sink. So from there, I'm going to install the rad and fill it up. Just to make things easy on myself, I'm going to remove the fan first. And, before I get started, I'll just disable the coil. And likely, if you work on enough of these Troopers, you're going to find on the 4Z1, the mechanical clutch-driven fan is the same on the V6. And they're likely going to be a combination of 12 and 13. I do come across both. Sometimes it's 13s and 12s, or just 13s or 12s. Anyways, I'm going to remove that fan to make things easy on myself. And in this case, somebody has swapped out the drain cock on the passenger side for a bolt. So I'm just going to pull the lower rad hose, and I've got my trays ready to go. And I'm going to capture all that coolant so the kiddies don't get it. And I'll put that new rad in there, and then we won't have any overheating or cooling issues throughout the whole winter. I expect that rad's going to last a long time. I see these things in pretty good health after 15, 20, 25 years. But to purchase a new one, as I mentioned in one of the previous videos, I am getting some pretty stupid prices ranging in between $500 and $750. So if you're doing a rad change today, you got yourself a used one. That's my method for cleaning them out. Rubber side down, fellas. The camera balanced. You can see there's some pretty heavy deposits going on in the top there, and they're even blocking off ports. That solution inside the rad. So a kettle, maybe even 2, kitchen crystal. Go find yourself that Drano powder, and you're... Okay, gang, back here at the shop here working on this rad exchange. Just wanted to share a couple things with you I didn't mention before. When you're taking your mechanical fan off, It helps to have a little pry bar in there to just put in between the bolts and the frame, well, the body of the bearing there. So the flange itself, you can actually hold it while you turn it. The other thing is to get your rad, if you got a used one. I'll give you this number actually, so you can see for yourself. This one came from Thailand in 2005, and there's our product number there. So yeah, I just used an air hose to blow back through the radiator to get any debris out. I did find some signs of something that concerns me here. There's quite a bit of white chaff down in the bottom. Looks like mineral deposits on this side as well, and the same kind of mineral deposits that are inside the rad. So, does it have a leak down here? I'm not sure, but you can see how I've capped it off. Finally found a use for these Isuzu hose clamps. And I'm not going to be putting much pressure in there, keeping in mind that things do expand with heat and that it will build up a little bit of pressure, so beware of that. But we're going to be using our cap, so it could overflow through here. I've got my crystals loaded up inside there, and of course PPE is recommended. These kitchen crystals are caustic, so when I add the hot water, I'm going to be careful. I got my kettle really loaded up here. And so I don't want to really be breathing in much of that steam either. Safety glasses and a full face shield, is not too much caution if the rad decides to burp at all. But I don't expect any action really. It's all going to be taking place inside the rad. So once I get all this water in there, my rad's going to be fairly close to capacity, and I'll just be sloshing it around. And from there, once I dump it out, that rad will be nice and clean. If you really have a lot of concerns about the rest of your cooling system, you can do a full flush. If you've got that under the passenger seat heater, that optional back heater, you really should flush your system out. And have a good look at those hoses and the metal interconnects. Don't be afraid to replace those original hose clamps with some stainless steel. Okay. The cap on the rad's getting pretty hot, so I'm just going to lean it against the box here. These caps on top are solid brass. Well, not solid brass, but they are all brass. And these rads are brazed together using brass and copper, and that's why they're so expensive in this day and age when non-ferrous metals are hitting some pretty high prices. One of the favorite things that I'd like to do to a first-gen Trooper, whether it's a V6 or the 4-cylinder, is eliminate that mechanical clutch driven fan altogether and get an electric aftermarket kit. Alright, it's looking pretty close. I've full up here by the looks of it, so I'm just going to stick my cap on and give it a good slosh around before I clean that out and put it back in the truck and add new coolant. Yeah, good luck to you with your cooling systems, and make sure you check all those hose clamps, because they are shitty. Rubber side down, fellas. Shitty.